everybody. Welcome to the show. You know where you are, the 9 at 9 with me, Tigo. And you know if it's the first Wednesday of the month, our favorite, well, our only numerologist is in the house. And we're going to talk about, what's coming up in the second quarter of 2023, starting with April. So sit right there. We'll be right back. Hey, you heard me right. It's the first Wednesday of the month. So we've got to talk about what's coming up in the month. And if you're watching it right now, it is the first Wednesday of April, 2023. If you're watching it in 2035, this is what happened in 2023 in April. All right. Cindy's out there, I'm sure. Hey, Cindy, what are you doing? Are you out there?
I'm here. Thank you for having me.
What's happening?
I'm really excited for the month of April. It finally feels like 2023 got started.
Wait, but April is the fourth month of 2023. And for some reason, you're right. It has been feeling kind of like an extension of 2022 without the celebration. So I had an urge to watch Christmas movies this morning. We're not going to talk about that. So tell me what you mean by the start of 2023 in April.
Yeah, so we had a little bit of cleanup from 2022 to do at the beginning of the year. And coming towards the end of March, moving into April, we start feeling this energetic shift where all of a sudden it feels like new ideas are starting to come through, innovative concepts are starting to come through, and it feels like we can finally take some action and move forward instead of cleaning up all the mess from before. So it feels like we can actually make some progress for 2023.
Now, let's look back a little bit because, in December, we start our New Year's resolutions. And I know I have been taught and corrected that my New Year's starts on my birthday. But a lot of people still try to do that. And then by, second week of January, they've stopped going to the gym. They've forgotten about their goals. So are you saying they need to start making a new list because it feels like the new year? Or they finally just need to get their butts in gear?
Yeah, I think we'll just feel like we can get our butts in gear, right? So, like you said, your new year starts on your date of birth. So if you were born in January is a great month to set those intentions and those goals for what you want to achieve. But if you were born in April, it's going to feel like now's the time to be doing that. If you were born in November, don't interrupt your own rhythm for the rest of the world. Stay true to you and keep doing what is in your intention. But we will feel April, May, June is really going to feel like we can finally start moving instead of cleaning out the closet, which is what we were doing for the last 3 months of really just, there was a lot of karma that was clearing. There was a lot of heavy emotional stuff that was clearing. There was a lot of relationships that were falling apart. And we've noticed that. I noticed that myself personally. And in that cleanup, we've created space now for what's next. So we're going to start feeling collectively like we can finally look at what's next and start building for a future.
Okay, so but what about the person who, uses almost any excuse? It's a windy day, so I'm not going to, expand my business or grow my business. I need to go get my hair done. So they keep missing all these opportunities that are basically being delivered to them, whether they know it or not. They're all around them, but they're just not reaching out to get them. How do you motivate or inspire or just light a fire to get people out of their own way?
Well, this takes some work, but my suggestion is that resistance and procrastination are a choice. It may not feel like that in the moment because it may feel like I got to go get my hair done. The kids are in the way. There's too much laundry to do. I just don't feel like it. These things can rise up, but we always have the choice to get inspired. We can go watch videos that inspire us. We can listen to podcasts that inspire us. We can simply choose to be inspired. We can play with the kittens for a while and get excited and then go and create something. Resistance is simply a way of saying, I don't feel inspired, and I think I'm at the whim of that. You're never, ever, ever at the whim of resistance. You always have a choice. And so it really comes down to making that decision. Now, making that decision is not easy to do. Highly recommend working with a coach to help you get through that one.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I would have said, coaches. Now I have four. It's like, coaches, but they're, making me literally stay on track and navigate personally and professionally. And I got to give a shout out to our co-stars that are running around back there, Venus and Mars. I see them every once in a while, just kind of zip through. So I want to say, hey, what's happening? So you mentioned in your personal life, I know that you had a big change because even your set has changed. What about
Yeah.
already have a plan and you're like, okay, this is what I'm doing this month. This is what I'm doing next month. And then something major happens, like what happened with you. And how do you stick to the plan?
Well, the plan always needs to be flexible because the plan needs to be able to pivot based on circumstances. We're not at the whim of our external environment, and yet things happen that we can't control. And so we always have to be
Mhm.
prepared to pivot like a basketball player, ready to go the other direction. And, for those out there who are listening, I dissolved a 7-year partnership, business relationship. I moved to a new house. It literally turned my entire life upside down. And here we are with this fresh new start. Now, there are seasons in our life that we go through that help us to understand these kinds of pivots. So this wasn't a surprise to me. I knew it was coming because I'm always looking at the numbers and going, I see something big is about to happen because I came to an end of a 7-year cycle. So this was no mistake that this happened. My kittens are going to try to destroy my new house. But when we can look at that, we can put plans together that are flexible, that allow us to work within that framework without it needing to be set in stone.
So because it's my fault that Venus and Mars are jumping all over the place. They heard me say their name and they wanted to be live and on stage. You got to give them the credit for that. Now, what are great numbers? Because you always talk to me about great numbers for certain quarters, great numbers for certain months, and great numbers that affect me. So what's a great number in April?
Well, the number for April is the number 2. So deep intuition, really trusting the relationship first and foremost with ourselves. We look to other people for love, appreciation, recognition, validation, etc., etc. We look to other people for the answers. I get a lot of people who come to work with a coach that says, just tell me what to do. And that's not my job as a coach. My job as a coach and your job as a human is to have a deep relationship with yourself. And that's what the 2 is really calling for. Because when that relationship is solid, all of the other relationships around you become solid as a result. So be the one who's willing to love yourself. Be the one who's willing to give yourself a pat on the back. Be the one who's willing to validate and give yourself the recognition that you're looking for. And trusting yourself to know the answers for what's right for you. As in dissolving a 7-year business partnership. That was not an easy decision to make, but I trusted myself enough to know that I've got this and I can do this and I can be the CEO. And so I make that decision, trusting that knowing this relationship is solid, then I can go build relationships left, right, and center as a coach, as a business owner, and be successful in that. So the 2
Yeah.
of April's really calling us to trusting ourselves as the number 1 relationship.
Okay. Now, before we get hit with this 2-minute warning, because we know what's coming, Alan loves giving it to us, even early a bit, I think sometimes. You're talking about the number 2. See, you're talking about the number 2. And I understand what you're saying, but somebody out there is going, Cindy, what are you talking about? What do you mean the number 2? Should I add 2 to everything that I do? Like, should I sign my name with the number 2? Should I go out and buy a new domain that has 2 in it? What does it mean? Can you give them
No.
like a brief description of what you mean by the power of number 2?
Yeah, so the numbers are these streams of consciousness, and there's fancy math behind the scenes that's been done in advance so that I know that April is a 2 energy month. when we understand that the numbers are simply speaking to us about energetic frequencies, the number is just a label for that frequency. So we know that the two energy is about connection, relationship, intuition. It's an emotional guider. It's more of the trusting those feelings rather than the thoughts and the physical actions. It's really about that connection, and it starts with the relationship with ourselves. So every month has a different number. April just happens to be a 2 this year.
And before we get cut off, can you tell everybody what the new name of your new business is, how they find you, all that good stuff?
Yes, Full Blast Coaching, fullblastcoaching.com. I'm on every social media platform. So whatever platform you prefer, you can find me. Just look up Cindy Van Arnam. I'm pretty easy to find. You can Google me.
You're the best. I can't wait to find out what's going to happen next month, because it's, Mother's Day month. It's getting ready to go into graduations and proms, and, people are planning weddings. There's a lot of stuff going on. So I want to thank you for this month, and I can't wait to see what happens next month. You're the best. All right, everybody, you know what to do. If you want to get in touch with Cindy and you didn't get a chance to write it down, go to tigodirect.com, type in Cindy, type in numerology. She's coming up. You can find her. Reach out to her. She is my personal numerologist. A lot of the things that I'm doing right now has a lot to do with the direction that Cindy helps me navigate. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I want you to come back next time. And as always, I'm Tigo. I'll talk to you next time.